Yo, welcome back to the channel. Kamusta po sa inyong lahat? Hiyuki is officially confirmed for version 3.3 and not just as some random addition. She is the anniversary banner character. This is the headliner, the centerpiece, the character that is supported to carry the hype of the game's second year anniversary, and honestly, based on what we have seen so far, they might actually have nailed it. Okay, so let's start with the obvious, the drip marketing. The moment it dropped, people instantly locked in. The design is doing a lot of heavy lifting here. You've got this icy, composed, almost untouchable aesthetic, paired with a massive blade that looks less like a katana and more like something built to end boss fights in one swing. It is giving Ronin energy, but with that signature Wuthering Waves polish. And then you notice the details behind her. Those figures in the background are not just there for decoration. There is clearly something deeper going on, whether those are past versions of herself, ancestral warriors, or some kind of manifestation of her abilities. The implication is the same. Hiyuki is not just another fighter. She is carrying something bigger, something historical, maybe even something heavy. Maybe she is immortal, and what we are seeing are fragments of her past lives. One image, though, that really stands out is the one where her hair is tied in a bun, looking back over her shoulder with glasses on. It gives off a noticeably more mature, almost maternal vibe that feels very close to Chisa's mom. And if you remember, I actually talked about this theory before. If this detail means anything, it could be subtle confirmation that Hiyuki's appearance shifts depending on context or who she is with. In other words, she is not just changing outfit or poses, she might be embodying entirely different versions of herself. And when she is around Chisa, that version leans heavily into a protective motherly presence. The official text leans into that idea as well. She is part of the Special Response Force and has the ability to perceive future possibilities of herself. That alone opens up a lot of questions. Are we talking multiple timelines, different outcomes, alternate combat states? Because if that translates into gameplay, this could get very interesting real fast. And on top of that, the dynamic between Chisa and Hiyuki adds a subtle but genuinely intriguing layer to the story, hinting at deeper narrative connections that have not been fully explored yet. Now, let's talk about her role because this is where things get even more important. Hiyuki is confirmed to be a Glacier Sword user, and everything is pointing towards her being a 5-star main DPS. That matters more than it sounds because Glacier has not really gotten a fresh main DPS spotlight in over a year, and the element has been kind of waiting for a proper carry to push it forward. If Hiyuki delivers on that, she is not just another strong character, she is potentially a meta reset for Glacial teams. Now, there are already early discussions about what her mechanics might look like. One of the ideas floating around is something like a stacking effect, often referred to as Glacial Shaft. The concept is simple but powerful. You build stacks on enemies, slowing them down, and at max stacks, you potentially freeze them. Completely freeze them. If that ends up being even remotely accurate, that is a massive level of control combined with damage. And what makes this even more interesting is the comparison people are already making. Characters like Alpha from Punishing Grey Raven keep coming up, and for good reason. That archetype of fast, precise, high impact combat paired with clean animations is something players consistently love. If Hiyuki lands anywhere near that level of execution, she is going to be everywhere. There is also the expectation that her Residence Liberation is going to be a visual spectacle. And honestly, it kind of has to be. This is the anniversary unit. This is the character that is supposed to make people log back in just to see what she can do. Now, let's zoom out a bit and talk strategy because this is where things get practical. If Hiyuki confirmed for Phase 1 of 3.3, the message is pretty clear. If you are not already saving asteroids, you might want to start immediately, especially when you consider that version 3.2 is not expected to be particularly generous in its first phase rewards. This is the classic setup. lower immediate rewards followed by a high value banner that quietly tests your patience. It is not forcing you to spend, but it is definitely tempting you to. And if Hiyuki ends up being as strong as she looks, then that pressure is going to hit a lot harder than people expect. But this is not happening in isolation. That is the key thing here. When you zoom out, this starts to look less like a single hype moment and more like a coordinated push. We are potentially headed into one of the most stacked stretches this game has had in a while. You have Hiyuki leading the charge, then conversations already building around another major character like Denia and Lucille, and right after that, a full cyberpunk collaboration lined up for version 3.4. So that is not some random scheduling, that is momentum building. So, what you are really looking at is an anniversary unit that could redefine an entire element, immediately followed by more high profile content designed to keep that momentum alive. This is how you re engage a player base. You do not just drop one good patch, you stack them so people do not have time to disengage. It feels deliberate. There has been a noticeable dip in engagement recently, and this kind of rollout feels like a direct answer to that. It is not subtle. It is the game very clearly signaling that it still has a lot left in the tank. And at the end of the day, Hiyuki checks almost every box you would want from an anniversary character. The design pulls people in, the lore keeps them curious, and the gameplay potential gives them a reason to stay. Whether she ends up completely broken or just very strong almost does not matter at this point. She has already done her job. People are paying attention again. And in a live service game, that is everything. Of course, we also have to look at team building. Hiyuki is not meant to function in a vacuum. Chisa is already expected to be a key piece, especially with her ability to increase negative status stats, which could directly synergize with Hiyuki's potential mechanics. The real question is who fills the sub DPS or buffer role. A lot of people are pointing to Lucille, and if that turns out to be true, that creates a bit of a problem. She is expected to release after the anniversary, which means players might be running an incomplete version of Hiyuki's best team for a while. And when you factor in the Cyberpunk collaboration immediately following the anniversary, resource pressure gets even tighter. So the big question becomes this: how strong will Hiyuki feel on release without her ideal setup? And if you are planning to pull for Hiyuki or if you are still on the fence, let me know in the comments section. And as always, if this video resonated with you, please leave a like and subscribe. Ring that bell for massive gacha luck and maybe a sandwich. Thank you so much for watching. Maraming salamat po. And I will see you in my next video drop. Goodbye.